the second sunrise. Eleanor sat on her porch, the sun casting long shadows over the fields of her quiet Tennessee home. At 72, she had settled into the rhythm of a life well lived, full of grandkids, garden tomatoes, and evenings with a rocking chair's gentle creak. But some days her mind wandered back to the summer of 1972. Back to James. He had been her first everything. First dance, first kiss, first heartache. They were inseparable during high school, both dreaming of leaving their small town for the big world. But then came college in separate states. Letters that came slower, then stopped altogether. Life took them in different directions. She married a good man who gave her 3 children and 35 solid years before cancer took him too soon. Still, in the quiet hours, her thoughts often returned to the boy with the crooked smile and the scent of tobacco and pine. In the gentle hush of midnight, Eleanor would sometimes find herself tracing the edges of old photographs, the weight of memory pressing softly against her heart. The laughter of her children, the warmth of her husband's hand, these filled the day. But in the solitude of night, a longing endured. It was never spoken aloud, not even to herself, but always there. A quiet ache for a letter that never arrived, for a chapter left unfinished. Remember to like and subscribe. She never knew why James never wrote back that last time, and she never looked him up. Pride or fear, she could never tell. Then one morning in June, a letter arrived, a real one, stamped and signed in trembling cursive. Dear Eleanor, I don't know if this letter will ever reach you or if you'll want it to, but I've spent too many years wondering what might have been. I'm back in Oak Ridge now, alone, and I'd like to see you, even if only to say I'm sorry. James. Her hands shook. Her breath caught somewhere between disbelief and something she hadn't felt in decades. Hope. 2 days later, she found herself pulling into the same gravel driveway they'd parked in before their senior prom. The white farmhouse looked smaller now, aged like its owner. She stepped onto the porch, and there he was. Older, yes, but unmistakably him. The same blue eyes, the same crooked smile. Neither of them spoke at first. Words weren't ready. So he took her hand, and they sat, side by side, on that porch swing. Well, eventually the story came out. James had joined the Navy after college, you see. There was a storm overseas, a shipwreck, and then a long recovery in a hospital where, honestly, mail just never made it. By the time he returned home, she was already married. He'd never wanted to interfere. So he lived a quiet life, a teacher, a bachelor, and, well, a keeper of a heart that had never quite healed. I always wondered if I should have looked for you, she said softly. I always hoped you would. They didn't fall back into each other's arms like in the movies. Instead, they started meeting for coffee. They visited old places. The lake where he carved their initials into a tree, the diner where they shared a cherry pie on her 18th birthday. Every memory was a seed, and well, something began to grow again. That fall, they sat on her porch, wrapped in a shared quilt as the leaves turned gold around them. I don't want to lose you again, she whispered. Then don't. And they didn't, because sometimes love doesn't die. It just waits, patient, faithful, for the day the road bends back around.